together now.
Good afternoon. It is 12:04, and we're just getting on the air. Let's talk call-in radio. This is a community listener call-in forum. This is all about you, our listeners.
And without you, it wouldn't be a party now, would it?
That's right. It wouldn't be a party. We're just here partying in the studio. And that is our topic for today. We promised last week something a little lighter than our normal fare, which is usually death, destruction, and the end of the world, and the extinctions, and
oh, boy.
Angst. Existentialism.
I'll try very hard not to turn this into a dark subject.
Well, no, please. There's a dark side to everything. 415-663-8492 is the number to call here, or there's also 415-663-8317 if you'd like to try that line. And how did this come up? Well, as always, it was an article about, and this time it was an article about... it was about Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul Sartre. Famous philosophers, existentialists, always talking about the angst of being alive and all that
the
sort of
suffering,
stuff. But
the struggle.
they loved to party. So there's an article on aeon.co, aeon.co. Being and Drunkenness, How to Party Like an Existentialist.
All right.
Sounds like fun.
So,
what is an existentialist?
It's just about thinking about the what it means to be in existence. What is existence? Why? What
is the purpose of my life? Why am I here?
You know. Apparently, that's how that was. A party isn't. Yes, and his famous line in No Exit, one of his books. Hell is other people.
Oh my!
And yet, they love to go to parties
and gather with lots of people.
And of course they were criticized for their hedonism, but they always said they were doing everything that they did intentionally. If you do something with intentionality, and you do it properly, and do it consciously, then you're living a full existence. And they used to apply that. They used to apply that to having parties as well. Partying like an existentialist also calls for caution. While it can be a reprieve from a world full of despair and distractions, it's bad faith to use it as a means to escape one's situation. See, you're not running away from anything. It's part of life. It's
full
an intrinsic
enjoyment
part of life. You're with other people.
Humanity.
Yeah. And we have a caller. Let's hope it's a human. Hello, you're on the air. What's your name, please?
My name is Charles.
Oh, my God.
Marshall.
Yo.
Yeah, turn down your radio.
And, the radio's not on.
No, turn down your voice, man.
The only person with real insights to the topics you discuss, and today is no exception.
A party animal, if there ever was one.
Well, let me just preface Charles's call by saying that Charles is the glue of Marshall and is, in fact, the social director of Marshall and is possibly the reason that every weekend in Marshall, the party capital of West Marin, there is a party somewhere.
I was never invited.
Gathering.
Come on, Charles, what's the deal?
Well, I believe you live in sinful Point Reyes. But we can, sort of put you on waivers, make an extension in this case, maybe for an afternoon.
Thanks. I'll hold that deeply in my heart.
We'll take the gospel of partying back to the wicked Point Reyes Station in Inverness Park. No, I think it's again about freedom, about liberty, and not about control, and not about manners. There's a great Bruegel's painting, The Battle of Lent and Carnival. And the Carnival is this big fat guy with a sort of spit that's his lance that has a big cheese and a ham stuck on it, and everybody on his side is drunk. And then Lent is this sort of shriveled old bishop with his crozier. And it's Bruegel's statement about festivals of misrule, which is what Carnival was, what Boxing Day was originally, where the Lord becomes a servant and the servant becomes the Lord. And I think that idea of misrule has been driven out of our culture by a sort of war of high manners against low manners, against, low life, you might say.
Low life.
And I think it's a shame, because I think that idea of misrule, that idea of being uninhibited, uncontrolled in your speech is like a real problem for, say, Let's Talk. I know lots of people listen to Let's Talk that never call in, because we live in a power-mad age that is obsessed with control and obsessed with what other people think of you, and am I misbehaving? Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to think the wrong thing? Well, this is where partying comes in. I do have a picture of Paul Raffel wearing a T-shirt that said, maybe partying will help.
Yes.
And here I wasn't going beyond potluck.
And what do you guys do in the afternoon?
There's always a party in Marshall.
There is always a party in Marshall.
And may I say, we have 14 current listeners online, so give us a call, everybody, 415-663-8492.
You've already been shamed by Charles.
It's a party on air.
They need to overcome their fear of judgment. That is what I dispense, and I'm going to get off here.
Thanks for calling, Charles.
Take care. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Charles.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, Charles Schultz really is, because he strolls the highway and pops in on everybody.
Wow.
Just to
very
see
neighborly.
how everything's going on and see if there's a libation available, perhaps. No, really, he is the social director.
I think it's a new phenomenon.
He gets
in
things
Marshall.
going in Marshall.
I think it's a new phenomenon. The parties, so many parties there.
Yeah, he as he was saying, people are like to hide away in their houses and not. It's easier to do that. And I have to admit that in our new house, we have not had a real party yet. We've had a couple of people at dinner, but does a dinner party with 2 people, 2 guests, 4 guests, does that count as a party? Or should there be dancing involved? Is a party without dancing?
I think it can be.
It certainly wasn't when I was younger. We always had to have the Rolling Stones playing at a party.
Not everybody is into
music.
dancing, so
yeah, right.
That happens.
I'm not built for it.
You're not built for it.
No, I shuffle. I sway a lot.
I think a dinner party means 6 people. I
6
think you have
people
6,
is a dinner party.
Yeah,
that's including the couple that are hosting it.
Host and host.
And then, what is the secret to a good dinner party?
Oh,
I think it's choosing people who are compatible, people who will get into meaningful discussions. I think, people who just...
that doesn't sound exactly like letting loose now.
Well, no, there are all kinds of different parties.
Yeah.
That's right.
What makes a good party? I mean, you don't want it to
conversation
be necessarily too raucous over a dinner table.
Delightful.
That's why I don't get very many invitations anymore, because...
You get raucous?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Paul Raffel.
We'll tie
please,
things down when we
again.
invite you over.
Not again.
I've been tied down before, but...
Okay, that's another show.
Yeah, well. But the...
Really yummy food. How about that? A lot of
Yes,
celebrations are centered around food.
And we've been, it seems it's potluck.
Potlucks. That was always that was usually the theme, certainly in Marshall in my day when I lived in Marshall, because Donna was an inveterate potluck giver. She loved to have people over, and so people bring incredible food to potlucks. It's a wonderful thing, and the famous Xmas parties that we used to have on Christmas Day every year, where people who didn't celebrate Christmas could come by, and
nice
Celebrate Christmas.
That's where we first met Charles. He walked in, and I can't say what she's told him as he walked in the door, because we get thrown off the air. Hi, caller, you are on the air. What's your name, please?
Sally.
Sally.
Hello.
Party girl, if there ever was one.
Hardy girl.
I just now swallowed a big teaspoon of almond butter, so now I'm just in the nick.
You get a little sticky in the mouth, are
Your
you?
tongue is cloven to your palate.
Yes. Parties. So, yes, I always want to have a party, and then I never do because I'm overwhelmed by the prospect of having a party. I think parties are really overwhelming to give them in the pre-production phase. I'm a little terrified by them.
Clean your house,
Really?
is that it?
Yeah, I remembered there was going to be a party for you, Paul, and it was, or no, a party for someone else in your little Marshall house.
Yeah.
And I was really overwhelmed by the idea of it. And I was just like, wait, no, we can't. That's a lot of people in a little space. I don't understand. And then you were like, oh, no, this like totally, this happens all of the time. and actually it was really enjoyable and really mellow, and everyone knew what to do.
Yeah.
Everyone brought food. Everyone, like a designated, somehow psychically designated people showed up early and set up.
Mm-hmm.
It was remarkable.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of practice at potluck.
Yes. Party, you have to practice.
I think that is a key, actually, because your nerves about your nervousness about having people over is, I think, not a rare thing. I think a lot of people feel that way, opening their house up to people they know. But, who knows what's going to happen? It's dangerous.
I would like to do it soon, but now I have to hang up. So thank you. Carry on.
Okay, you go plan that party now.
Okay, I'm going to plan a party.
Sounds good.
Plan a party now.
All right. Bye.
I think there's been a shift in Marshall, speaking of going back. I think that I used to describe it as a community of recluses. But now there's been such a shift with so many homes changing hands, and
Right.
I think the people who are who've taken over are much more convivial.
Oh, yes, there. Yeah, I think that's true. It's an interesting phenomenon because we're always saying how Marshall has become this sort of weekend paradise where it's a. I mean, it always has been, but there's also some short-term rental stuff going on. But the people who own the houses there are very often there at weekends and are, by and large, they like to have people around and like to have discussions, even with Charles and me. We have two callers. We have callers on each line now, so we're just going to pot you both up. Hi, callers. You are on the air. One of you say your name.
Hello. Oh, MK. It's MJ.
MK and MJ.
For the call.
Hey.
MK, you can go first.
Okay. I was thinking about the parties we had when my children were little. We had a big old crazy house, and her dad, their dad, was an English professor and a poetry specialist guy, and got a grant from the Endowment of the Arts or something, and brought a whole bunch of people through who stayed with us, and so we had occasion to have many guests, and it was really wonderful because there was a lot of intelligent input. It wasn't just getting together to have a bunch of wine and get to know each other too well, or which sort of happens sometimes, and so on and so forth. And I think that we had potlucks and great pots of curry and depending on the season, outside. We made tortillas, and it was just really fun.
Yeah.
So they should be fun, really.
It really was fun, and I think it was good for the kids because they're all wonderful cooks now. Because they're all. It was interesting. We also had one time when a guy killed a goat and brought it to our house and cut it up and barbecued it.
Wow!
In the garage.
Fresh goat.
Oh dear!
It was wonderful. I mean, it was peculiar in many ways. It was a little bloodthirsty, but it was good for the kids, I think, to see how you do it. But,
yes.
Just come wrapped in a styrofoam.
Right.
Plastic.
All good skills to know. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd gotten done with the bleeding part by the time they had it over there, which was kind of nice.
Drained it right in the
Thankfully,
street.
we don't want that at the party.
Well, now that brings up
part of it. It's part of it, but yeah. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Well, it brings up the if you think about parties or social gatherings or whatever, or community gatherings, then the old days you didn't kill an animal unless it was a feast, and a feast day was a chance for everyone to get together and dance, and dance was a big thing. Dancing exists as a gathering thing.
Under those circumstances, a lot of times when they were slaughtering in general, they would have a ball, a party after they'd been dunking the dead hogs in boiling water all day and scraping their hides and all the rest of the stuff that they did.
Love all these juicy details.
Well, I'm detail oriented. And anyway, that's I think parties are interesting and can be fun, and I've always been very comfortable with that kind of situation. We hardly ever had any weird things happen. Often we had 15 children under the age of 9, let's say, and nobody ever got hurt or there were, it was before we had DVDs.
I love having children at the party, really.
It's
a great addition.
Children and dogs and whatever else. It was wonderful.
Kids and pets. And Mia, how about you? What did you?
Hello. I have a very specific... Hey, MK. I was just thinking of, okay, what parties do I love and which ones did I feel uncomfortable with? And I realized the ones I feel not I'm vibing with are when it's super, super brightly lit in the house.
Oh.
So for some reason, that's what I felt compelled to call about is if you're having a party at night,
Ambiance.
Don't have all of your lights
Turn the
on
lights
in your
down.
house.
Yeah,
because I feel like it's weird. It's hard to relax and get into the atmosphere. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, okay, what has worked and what hasn't.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, and I am a big fan of having seating for people, too. So I guess I'm just an old lady. Warm and dark and sit down.
I think you understand the value of parties under those, because if you sit people down, and you have to be a little bit careful who they sit next to.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's opening a whole other can of worms. So, okay, let's say that the chairs are a tentative suggestion.
Does a reception count as a party?
I'm enjoying the lighthearted show today.
Oh, thanks,
you, Mia.
Bye.
Bye.
There's a wonderful line in Gatsby. I think it's Jordan Baker who says, I love big parties because they're so intimate. There's no intimacy in small parties.
Interesting.
In a big party, you can sort of go off in a corner with somebody and have a little tete-a-tete, and
so get lost in the crowd.
You're sort of stuck. You can't. If everybody go to the bathroom at the same time or go walk the dog or something. So I'm just assuming that there's hanky-panky going on because there usually is.
I see.
Get okay. All right, we got it.
Well, thank you, MK. So, structure, do you like structure in a party? I mean...
Sure, I think there has to be a reason. And that's why those parties that we had when the kids were little were...
mostly birthdays.
Were so much fun because we had, for instance, and this is name-dropping and I apologize, but we had the Mabu Minds come from, which is the experimental La Mama Theater from New York, to come and do some Beckett plays. And
wow.
The head of the Mabu Minds was a woman named Joanne Antonakis, and she was unmarried to Philip Glass at that point. So Philip came and stayed with us as well, and then he went and played music with changing parts. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but it's very dissonant. And anyway, he played that for a whole bunch of Lutherans after they'd had cocktails, and it was a wonderful experience. We lay on the floor on the stage. It was probably a little bit.
I think that really makes a party. People who come and perform or do something for everyone. That doesn't happen much, but I can see how that is a wonderful thing to happen at a party.
Well, have somebody sitting in the middle of your living room playing a cello.
Yeah,
hopping around and getting dressed up and or being naked or whatever they were doing and dancing around to the music. It was great.
Lovely.
Yeah, so back to what Charles said about, it's an opportunity to sort of let go and be your whole self, right? So eat the yummy food and have the, deep, meaningful conversations and do a little dancing and get into your body, and maybe we perform.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the only one doing that at the party, that's okay too. I've been in that situation.
The lampshade on the head.
All right.
Well, that brings up the question about what are a host's duties or a hostess. What
not
should
pass out before 9:00.
Oh, that old rule. Ha!
That old rule, and to have a good time.
Yeah.
I had one husband who, whenever we were going to have a party, would
Which one?
take a
Number
shower
2, 3?
The moment, yes, 10. He would have a shower the moment that the people were supposed to arrive.
Yeah.
And I would want to murder him.
Leaving it all to you.
Sort of like
But he
splish
was not
splash.
comfortable in the social situation as I was.
Well,
Yeah.
right. There you
Yeah.
go. Well, thank you, MK. That's wonderful memories. Thank you.
Carry on.
Thank you, we will. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yes, the number is 415-663-8492. Give us a call. Let us know what your rules and your preferences and how do you go about partying and what kind of parties do you like to go to? Do you like social situations? This is the thing. I mean, if a party's too big, is it scary? If it's too small, is that scary? Because then you're all kind of in the spotlight. And
Right,
you're all required
right.
to do something.
It can be a very lonely spot, too, if you feel like out of it.
Well-
I think parties, you can be there at a party and go, oh, what am I doing here?
Yeah, and there is social anxiety. I think we all have a little social anxiety when entering a place.
Yeah.
And so here we are. Here's this this site that I found. There's a woman who is how to host an amazing party. But the first 5 minutes, what happens as people arrive? This is something people remember most, just like an event first impression. Anyway, the first impression is, oh, the door's closed. Should I knock? Or, you walk in. Then she says, maybe put a sign on the door, say, come on in, and put your coat on the thing, and make it easy for people to get in. Start on a high. Best to greet them as they enter. So, the host or hostess stationed somewhere near the door so that you can greet the people as they come in. Comfort food and drink should be obvious and available immediately because a lot of us feel like you're kind of... The spotlight is on as you walk in unless you've got a glass and a plate in your hand, and then you can just kind of...
Have a reason for being there.
Used to be smoking a cigarette. It
Ah,
had something
right.
to do with your hands.
Cocktail and a cigarette,
yes,
right.
yeah. But now it's a cocktail and an hors d'oeuvre. Make it easy for people to put their stuff down and
Help
feel
them
at
to
home
feel
and help them.
comfortable and at home.
And if you're going to have dinner, then you have this sort of timetable in your own mind anyway. And in fact, you could tell your guests so that they know what's happening. And if they want to leave at a certain time, they can leave between this and that, and between dessert and whatever.
Little handout with
Little
the time
handout. I mean,
schedule.
this is what she's saying. And party games. Who does games anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I had a party and we
Games are great.
We played a game and everybody felt, or not everyone, but many people felt very awkward with
Well,
it.
what kind of
What
game
game
are we
was
talking
it?
about, Stephen?
Well, it's a game that I learned at Gail's cousin who used to have. This is a Hanukkah. People brought gifts, and there was a exchange of gifts, and you didn't know. All the gifts were in the center of the room, and you didn't know what you were picking up. So you opened it, and a person had the choice whether to take a gift that someone had already opened up or take their chance with one of the mystery boxes or whatever
Wow.
they were. It was a lot of fun, and and the object can only change twice, and then it stops. You can't.
Well,
So you can take, if somebody opens something and it's your turn,
And you
then
grab
you
it.
can take somebody's gift that was already
Right.
opened.
And somebody else can take it from you.
What
But
is
that's
this
it.
called?
Yeah.
What's
That's
this called?
I don't know, but it's a lot of fun, actually.
We usually, I've played that game too, and it's usually, everybody brings some kind of funny gift or,
There's a limit of
low
price
priced gift or
$15
whatever.
or whatever.
And so it's just for the game. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what to say about that. It's like I don't know what
I'm
it's
like
like.
a
It's like a
white elephant,
Polynesian ceremony where you give things away, and if
That's
someone
right, yeah.
feels like that, oh, I'd like that book, or
And then they take
that-
it, yeah.
that diamond necklace should be mine,
Right.
And
I've been stuck with keychains, by the way.
keychains, a diamond keychain, very nice. So party games. I mean, there used to be that people used to play
Charades.
games. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff.
My-
Does anyone do that anymore? Give us a call if you like to play.
When I was a kid, my dad
games
used to
at
love to play games, and he'd have his friends over. Well, he was a theater guy, right? And there'd be the cast parties always, you know. But I remember playing. It was New Year's Eve, and he had invited just a few friends over, and there were four kids and like 5 or 6 adults, let's say, in a small apartment. And we were playing this game called Murder, where you have as many playing cards as there are people playing. One of those cards is an ace of spades, and that's the detective. And one is the joker, and that's the murderer. So everybody draws a card, and nobody knows who is who. Then you turn off all the lights, and you walk around in the dark and try to keep an eye on everybody and avoid the murderer. But pay attention, because when someone dies, we're going to have to find out who did it. Well, the way someone dies is the murderer drops their card next to the person that they whisper in their ear, "You're dead," you know. And then they have 10 seconds to walk away from the scene of the crime, and then the person who gets murdered screams.
Oh.
And then the detective turns on the
Turns
lights.
the lights on.
Well, we were playing with theater people, and I remember my dad's friend was murdered, and the scream he let out was horrifying.
Theatrical scream.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But that was a fun game. When we were kids, we loved playing murder detective. Yeah.
Pin the tail on the baby. No, what is it?
No, donkey.
Donkey, that's right. This is KWMR 90.5, 89.9, and 92.3 in West Marin, and online KWMR.org, and of course on the new mobile app, KWMR mobile app. You can get it. You can get it on the website KWMR.org. Support for KWMR programming is provided by the California Film Institute, celebrating film and media as art, entertainment, and education at the Christopher B. Smith Raphael Film Center, the Mill Valley Film Festival, and through CFI education programs. Information at cafilm.org. And we're also supported by our listener members, of course, and by Marin Agricultural Land Trust, a member-supported non-profit organization working to preserve Marin County farmland. On the web at malt.org. That's MALT.org. Thank you to all our underwriters and all our listeners, and to all our callers and listeners. You can now become a caller. 415-663-8492 or 8317. And tell us about...
Fantastic.
Tell us about parties in your life. What's the most wonderful party you've ever been to? What's the worst party you've ever been to? Oh, Stephen Horowitz.
Uh-oh.
My house, yeah. Oh, boy.
Well, I have one.
We talk about existential subjects. Can you
Party
imagine how
games,
boring that would be at
I'm
a
still
party?
interested in party games because I haven't played a game. In fact, it wasn't a party. It was just we dropped in on some neighbors and the kids were there, and somebody said, well, let's play Scrabble. So we had an afternoon game of Scrabble before any festivities happened. But I haven't played a party game. I haven't played charades in
My daughter came to visit me
years.
recently and brought her favorite games with her. It was very fun. She introduced us to a new game, and the first time especially if it's a complex kind of a game, and this one was very interesting because there wasn't a winner. It was sort of like team building game in a sense. Like we all had to be in this together. We all had the same goal was to eradicate disease across the world, across the planet, right?
Wow.
And so we each player had to play so that we all could win, right?
Yeah.
It was very interesting. Yeah.
You know, a party that I've enjoyed, it's yearly. Gail has a friend who owns olive trees. And once a year, they invite everybody over, and we pick olives, a big crowd. So the olives get picked in one day. And then in the evening, a big dinner, and everybody socializes, and it's a lot of fun.
That
We
is
work for our dinner.
an age-old practice, right? The harvest ceremony.
Every year, yeah.
All the village gets
sounds
together
nice.
and share the bounty.
I had a gig for a little while working for a catering company, and so I would serve dinner at parties in San Francisco. And this one particular evening, the whole party was punctuated, every course was punctuated by some kind of musical entertainment.
Boy, that's my...
And so when it was time for the next plate to go out, music would start, and then we would all come out with the food.
Huh.
And that was probably the most interesting
That's quite
experience. It was,
I want to go to your party.
pretty
Well
fancy.
choreographed.
Yeah.
Because, yes, most of the parties we go to, although there's fabulous food, and it really is just whoever wants to turn up turns up. And, anytime.
A lot of
doesn't
good
matter.
cooks out here, I know.
Leave
a lot
anytime.
of good food.
Hi, caller. You are on the air. What's your name, please?
Hello, this is Athena.
Athena, hi.
Hi. I just wanted to add a little. I definitely want to second Mia's emotion around the proper lighting.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those people that will sneak around and find the light switches and like surreptitiously change the lighting so that it's more flattering. And immediately people do. They warm up, or if there's music playing, more people will start dancing. Like it's a very,
Yeah.
it really helps. And then my really favorite lighting is, campfire, which obviously isn't a seasonal thing, but really there's nothing better in my mind than a party where we're all, sitting around a fire. It's great if passing around instruments and sharing songs as well. That's always been my favorite.
lovely.
Oh, yeah, I love a good sing-along myself. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. And when was the last time you did that?
Oh, a few months ago. I guess it was
good.
almost, like back in the rainy season.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs are having a party now. Sorry. But, yeah.
Well,
like
that's
that.
lovely. Yes. So you're the one.
responsibility.
You're the one who comes around and dims all the lights at the party.
Yes. That'll be me.
Okay, well, now
You
we
know when Athena arrives.
Look
So
out.
you have responsibilities when you come to the party. You feel
Yeah.
that, it's you're going to set the mood.
It's your space as well as the host.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I often do check in with the host, but not always.
Yeah.
You sneaky one.
I think the kitchen seems to be the center of parties quite often.
Wherever the food and the wine is, right?
Totally.
I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
It's a small room.
Yeah.
I like that. The small
intimate,
room, people are
cozy,
close together.
You can lean against counters, all that. Thank you, Athena.
Well,
That's
thank
lovely.
you.
Thank you for calling.
Cheers. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There's one thing, there's a thing about parties that I enjoy, and that is there's no what's the word?
No fondue anymore.
People come and go. It's you don't really have to say hello or goodbye. There's just a group of people. You sort of stand by the group of people. You might talk to somebody, and then you just
Move on and talk
disappear
to
if you
somebody
want.
else,
Yeah,
or
it's not
disappear.
like you don't. There's no
So
etiquette
these are
in that regard.
These are sort of community get-togethers, not a special occasion. We're not doing not necessarily the case. I mean, you could be toasting birthdays or whatever, but that's kind of the free-form party that I've grown used to. But some people like to have it more formalized.
I missed one of my favorite potlucks that happens once a month. The group that I dance with on Wednesday nights, once a month they get together and have a potluck, and it's just one of my favorite things because it takes that group who's been dancing together now gets to sit around the table and talk and share,
nice.
and we get to know each other a little better, and so
Lovely.
yeah.
So how does going to the bar count as party time? Isn't it the same kind of thing where you're showing up and there are other people that you probably know?
I went through a
having
phase
here?
with karaoke many years ago, and I was regularly at the bar for karaoke night. And so there was definitely certain people who always showed up for that. And even though when I first started going, I would purposely sit alone. I didn't want to be looked at. Don't look at me. I just want to try this karaoke thing. And eventually they insisted that I must join the fold. And so I developed this whole pocket of friends just because of the karaoke thing.
Lovely. So combine, common interests.
Right.
Get people together. Community gatherings like that, it was very important. That's why dance was invented, really, isn't it?
Yeah, folk dancing, a barn dance, square dance. People come together and dance.
New friends,
in
too.
patterns.
It's an opportunity to make new friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Enlarge the gene pool.
The best party, the best party I ever threw.
Oh, now.
Yes. Was for my father. When he was turning 75. And I knew that at that point he was already starting to lose his memory, but it wasn't as severe as it ended up. And my mother had died maybe a year or so before he turned 75. Well, actually, it was more than that. Anyway, and I just remember noticing at her funeral all these people getting up and saying lovely things about her, and she wasn't there to hear it, at least not in. And so I thought, what if I threw a party for my dad and invited all his former students and colleagues, and they could share stories?
That's a wonderful idea.
And so we did this, and I worked with, my father's past colleagues and students that I knew about, and I said, hey, I need you to reach out. And we pulled together this huge crowd. We filled the theater. It was a wonderful thing,
lovely.
and it really stayed with my dad for years. And he kept photos of that day,
Fabulous.
passing by his computer screen. So
what a loving daughter.
it was very nice.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name, please?
Well, my clothes are trapped in the laundry machine, and I'm naked, so I really can't go anywhere, so I thought I'd call back.
Oh, no.
So, anyway, I would just say a danger. De Tocqueville said there was a danger in America that everybody would just find their own little group and talk to each other about the same little thing, and this would be a threat to democracy. So the real pitfall with the party is the play date, is the overdetermined, not spontaneous, and too many people who think exactly the same thing. So the nice thing about doing it just as a geographic thing is that I can just walk down the strip here in Marshall and say, hey, what are you doing? And what are you doing? And I can get people who really aren't very much alike and wouldn't normally gravitate toward each other to encounter, other people.
Right.
The other thing is age-graded education. I'm afraid, there are other people that really don't feel comfortable unless they're with people that are exact same age. But I wanted to echo, Steve's thought earlier, which was we had a party at the other Steve's house a couple of Christmases ago, and we had the 80-year-olds right down to the toddler on the floor crawling around, and there was a wonderful feeling of having every sort of age group.
I like that, too.
In the same space, because you are attentive to this little toddler, you're attentive to the oldest person in the room. It's really, I think, a much more healthy and sort of mature way to interact. Difficult because of our demographics out here, but
Well, it's that's the little piece of community. That's the lifeblood of community. When everyone is welcome to your house for occasions like that.
So that's why I say like the rule of congregating with other people should be somewhat arbitrary in the sense of just you're in this place at this time. Okay, you join in, and rather than having it be drawn on some very narrow lines. And it's hard. I think that it's the casualness of it too. I mean, we do a lot of stone soup kind of parties where people just bring little bits of this and that, and then all of a sudden you have all these things. and everybody eats and everybody drinks and it's fine. But it's not that one person has to provide everything.
Yeah.
No, right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Spontaneity. I have a party this afternoon, and tell Paul where it's at. Paul, you come pick me up.
Okay.
I will be dressed by then.
Good deal.
Okay.
That brings up a subject that I've thought about with the potlucks. Seems everyone brings enough food for 11 people, so you end up with just almost too much food.
Sure.
Yeah, and so we all overeat.
Yeah. Or
Americans, you just
I just
can't stay away from plenty.
That's my problem. Favorite parties. I was just sitting here thinking about my favorite parties, and they mostly have to do with wakes and weddings.
Oh.
So the only wedding I've ever had that I was the groom. Great party in Hawaii. It was fabulous. Wow. I married at City Hall and then came back, and it was Hawaii, and we had dancers who were people who were in the Hawaiian dance game, and it was a lovely evening. Another one was Donna's wake.
I was going to say she had two of them.
Yeah. Donna's first wake, when she was going to go in for a heart procedure and decided, similar to what you did for your dad, she decided, well, what if she had a 50-50 chance, they said. And she thought, well, all these people are going to come and have a party if I die. Why not do it before I go?
Right, good thinking, yeah.
She did. And it was very theatrical. She was in a coffin, had a coffin made. She was lying in the coffin with some supplies to keep her going, and the lid on at first with the air gap. And then we took the lid off. We had the preacher, we had the mourners, we had the Italian wailing women. Every time her name was mentioned, they go,
wow.
There was a place at the foot of the coffin where people could leave gifts and mementos and poems. People sang songs about her. They
what was
read
that
poems
like
about
for her?
Incredible. She had a fabulous time. And so it was so real. People came through the door, and it was very somber, very quiet, and there she was, laid out in black, like this, arms crossed and white makeup. It was very convincing, and it was a little uncomfortable for a lot of people coming in. They thought, geez, this is almost too real.
Yeah.
And then it ended up, I resurrected her as God, and
that's convenient.
We tilted up the coffin so she could step out of it. She threw off her black robe, and Madonna, not like a virgin, started playing. She was all dressed in red, and it was a big party from there on out.
How fun!
Somebody was taking video, but
she loves parties too.
It didn't last. Hi,
caller.
Caller, you're on the air. What's your name, please?
It's me again.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't top that in a million years. but when I was a kid in Maine, and at Labor Day weekend, there used to be a masquerade where there'd be a theme, and then everybody would dress up. The different families would dress up, and we had a big old barn. And we all met there. We had a stage, and you usually had some music and stuff. But it was really fun. I have vivid memories of I don't know what the theme was, but my sister and my cousin and I were the Lorelei on the rocks, and poor old Odysseus was our portly nanny. And the sailors were my brother and my little cousin, and they were so sleepy. They were just had bird cork smudges on their faces. They were sort of wandering around half asleep in their little yellow slickers and stuff.
Oh.
But it was really fun.
Yeah.
And then there'd probably be, there must have been a bar there. People would
really?
Do you have to a masquerade? Do you have to
wear a mask?
Yeah.
No, just costumes.
It wasn't like a bal masque. It was like a they call
costume
it a
party,
dress party.
Yeah, fancy dress party.
Yeah,
fancy dress.
Dressing up.
Do people still have fancy dress parties?
I wish they would, because it's so much fun.
I think some people do. I don't know about. Well, actually, I've been to the annual fundraiser at the Dance Palace, and people do dress up. Not everyone, but
right.
people do dress up for that. I have seen
Well,
that.
there's always Halloween, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, MK. We have another caller. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name, please? Hello, caller. Caller on line 2, 8317.
Try
are
again.
You there? Are you there? Call us again. 415-663-8492 or 8317. Yeah, masquerades, costume
party. Yeah,
parties.
somebody should have one of those.
Toga parties.
Toga.
We had a toga party in college.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
At your fraternity?
Yeah, my fraternity.
Oh,
That's a
boy.
whole nother subject, fraternity
Oh,
parties.
this was you were going to get a little dark about the frat
No,
parties, weren't
skip
you?
that.
Yeah, because they're enjoyable, but sometimes people get hurt. Is it?
Oh, boy.
Kavanaugh.
That's another subject.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name, please?
Hi, this is Gail.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Party girl herself.
Oh, yeah. It's a good show. I was actually thinking that it seems with parties that there are just certain times when everything just falls together. Like, it's just another party or a celebration, but for some reason everyone is there. Like, it's just, there's almost like this underlying force that, I don't know, just like a synchronicity where everybody's available and everybody shows up and it turns out to be really special. Like I was thinking about a party that Stephen's family had, the anniversary of one of his cousins and someone we hadn't really seen, but for some reason we knew we'd be there and everybody was there. And it was actually just amazing to have, like, I always say all the right people are there and all the right people aren't there.
Like it was a reunion. That's a party too. A reunion.
Yeah, reunion.
Oh, yeah.
And, it just was a special weekend and a nice opportunity to spend time with people. And, like, just everybody was into it. You know, the energy was great. And I don't know, some parties just work.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's wonderful when it all comes together. When something really lovely happens. I mean, a lot of gatherings are great, and you have a conversation, you get a little tipsy, you have some food, and you go home. But other times there are parties that, really score, and I don't know what the recipe is for that.
Exactly. Well, like I said, sometimes it's just, you can't always predict it. But, it does remind me of kind of one of the ways that I handle that situation where, you feel a little bit self-conscious or there's always a moment where you're sort of wondering if anybody will show up or if it's going to be good or if you remembered everything. And that motto, which is I always just come back to the place where I remember that all the people who are supposed to be there will be there.
Yeah.
And all the people who aren't won't be there, and it'll just be fine. And usually it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Let's have a party again.
Thank you for all the parties.
I think.
Anyway,
Yeah.
here. Bye.
Thank you, Gail.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
415-663-8492. We still have a few minutes left
I
here.
think, sometimes it can be the family gatherings that can derail most often.
Well, that is it seems to be the norm, and from what I hear, because all my family is either dead or 6,000 miles away. So
you don't have that family gathering experience too much
no
these days.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, not for a long time. But isn't it kind of the norm? I mean, there's this thing about we have to go. We're going to be with the family for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever. Oh, Uncle Bob's going to be there. All this stuff. It's kind of the stereotypical thing of family parties. So are they really problematic that way?
The other side of the coin.
Depends on the family.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is I can't remember. I don't know the statistic, but there are so many children who are conceived not at the party, but after the party. I think Christmas or New Year's.
Parties
or at
used
the
to be
wedding
for, as I
reception.
recall.
Yeah. Born in September.
That's so here's a site about parties for seniors, elderly adults. Show a movie or classic TV show like Danny Kaye, Abbott and Costello, Red Skelton. How about a film with Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire films? Or have a sing-along? Well, so
That could be
sing-alongs. And
My friends, I went to a party once where we sang theme songs to TV shows.
Nice. Bingo for the elderly with having cards that have large print.
Oh, dear.
Sounds like an assisted living.
Well, yeah, maybe. Create your own game show version of Jeopardy using trivia from the decades. Yeah. Games such as checkers, chess, bridge, and dominoes are enjoyed by all ages. Plan a This Is Your Life party. Oh, no.
Another reason to have all
dear.
ages at the party.
That would be awful. This is your life.
Oh, gosh, my dad, with his theater friends, they had a party, and they all were to bring something that would offend the most people. That was fun.
That was a theme.
Could have Queen for a Day. How about that one?
Theme for a day?
Yeah. No, Queen for a Day.
Queen for a day.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's what you're into, sure. Yes, Queen for a day. I don't know. What does that mean, though? That means someone gets to be
They get pampered.
Oh, that was a television show. You never saw Queen
Isn't
for
that
a Day?
like
Oh,
isn't
my
that
gosh.
like a baby shower? Isn't that kind of
No, they
what-
would surprise someone.
Oh, baby showers, aren't they?
Well, baby
Fabulous
showers,
things.
and they play a lot of
Circumcision.
games. They play a lot of games at baby showers.
Wow.
Callers on the
Hi,
air.
caller, you're on the air. What's your name, please?
Hey, I'm David. Want
David.
to join the party,
Excellent.
and I was part of or host to numerous parties with Donna and lots of Marshall folks. Stephen, long ago.
Yeah.
Kathy and Casey, did you go to those parties?
What?
Kathy and Casey, Party
Yeah.
House in Marshall.
I have photographic evidence.
Uh-oh.
This is the reason for your call.
I was thinking of Chinese potlucks we had and an erotic food party, which was very fun.
Mm.
Donna brought steak tartare, as I recall, carefully shaped.
Oh,
Okay.
Chinese potlucks were great.
Yeah.
And they often had a theme. I had a party once where it was a birthday party for me, and I put on the invitation, everybody must bring a gift, and all gifts will be destroyed.
Oh.
That sounds like fun.
It was. It was kind of chaotic and anarchistic. But, yeah, theme parties are great, or something around an activity, something that holds it together that you know, a lot of people can contribute to in some way or another.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Well, it's good.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You are the last caller.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this has been Let's Talk. KWMR does not take a stand on any of the issues discussed on Let's Talk. Opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts and callers and don't necessarily reflect the views of KWMR, its board of directors, underwriters, or members. And please do have a good time. Party on this weekend. And we'll be back next week with another lovely topic. Bye for now.